Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to Future Proof Your Career with Cloud Computing webinar. I am Kosila, your host for today, and thank you everyone for joining the restart of our webinar series. So, in this webinar, we will explore the world of cloud computing and how it can supercharge your career. So, in this session, you will have an understanding of cloud computing fundamentals. You will learn about leading platforms like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. You will explore the trends and in-demand certifications. And lastly, we'll finish off with a Q&A session with our expert instructor. And the expert instructor for today is Mr. Praveen from Infosyte. Okay, a round of applause, everyone. Okay,
Thank
so
you. Thank you.
Mr. Praveen, that's Mr. Praveen right there. So he is an AWS Authorized Instructor, also known as AAI Champion. He is well versed and experienced in cloud computing landscape. And he's of course here to share with us his knowledge. And so now that we know our host and instructor, while you guys are typing, here's the fun sharing. So we all grew up with knowing that clouds are those fluffy floating things in the sky, right? But in this modern day and era, cloud is basically known as a powerful tool that has many versatile uses and it's currently transforming industries worldwide. That's amazing, isn't it? To know that there are basically two different concepts of cloud. Kind of cool. Right. Thank you everyone for dropping your locations. Now let's hear from Mr. Praveen. Mr. Praveen, if you're ready, the mic is all yours. You can start your
All right.
presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kosila. Right. So very good morning to everyone. Hopefully everybody's doing fine. So can everybody see my screen? All good, right? So my name is Praveen Nair. Of course, I've been working with multiple cloud environments. I was previously a network engineer, so I'm a bit of an infrastructure guy, right? But I know the world is moving forward, so I myself had made myself future-proof by taking some cloud courses, and now I'm sharing some insights with you why the cloud is so important, right? So everybody okay? No issues? Can go ahead. Hopefully everybody's good. Grab a cup of coffee. I'll keep it short and simple for you guys. Don't worry. I don't like to go and talk a lot of stuff, but yeah, I tend to go way out of my way and start talking some weird stuff, right? So today's generally topic is future-proofing your career with cloud computing, right? So I'll give you some insights regarding what the cloud computing environment is currently looking like, how we are generally moving forward, what kind of areas you should focus on, and why it's so important nowadays, right? So we'll get right into it. So why future-proofing matters? Now, this is a very broad question. Now, it's not only specific to cloud computing, but we'll focus on the matter today. So the tech industry essentially moves ahead very fast. If you come like 10 minutes or let's say 10 years ago and ask me, are we going to use AI in our daily work? I'll probably say no. But today we have ChatGPT, we have DeepSeek, we have all these different tools that we use, right? So we need to keep up with demand. Right? It's something that we have to look into ourselves and generally try to accommodate for the cloud or accommodate for future proofing. There's an increasing demand specifically in Malaysia for cloud experts. This is now very viable since just last year. AWS has actually come to Malaysia. They build data centers. Microsoft is already working here. Google also has I think they were talking about moving some data centers over to Malaysia. So this is something that is generally wide spoken or wide known nowadays, right? There's an increasing demand for expertise in the cloud. This is something that we cannot overlook. Plus, the last one, it might seem like a bad thing to look at displacement of jobs, right? But since the environment is moving so much towards cloud environments, so much towards technology, there is a risk, definitely, as in all tech environments. Tech industry is one of the most volatile industries in the in the business, but there is a risk, right? So keeping yourself up to date with the future terms, future tech industry, future environments will generally bring a lot of valuable insights to you, valuable opportunities, right? Now, to talk about cloud computing, is it hard to master? As is any field, yes, it is not easy to master, but it's very easy to get into. You just need a few sets of skills, which you can easily learn, right? So future proofing does matter, especially in the age of cloud computing nowadays, right? So just to give you an idea, simple one. The cloud market, as it says here, is going to be worth about 1 trillion by the year 2020 or 2030. That's not far apart. We are 5 years away, basically, to 2030, right? And the major players in the cloud, of course, AWS, the ones you've heard, Azure, Google Cloud, but there are also other players like Huawei, you have Alibaba Cloud, you have even private cloud solutions like Sanfor. So you need to know which major players are basically in your industry or basically in your working environment, right? So if a company is more on AWS, and you pick up more AWS stuff. If your company is more in Azure stuff, pick up. But these are the general dominators in the market, right? You would think it's hard to choose a cloud provider. It's actually based on company itself. What the company is looking for. They're looking at more infrastructure. They will go maybe with AWS. They're looking more into Power BI solutions, maybe Azure. So these are things you need to look at. And cloud adoption nowadays, most industries are using multi-cloud. I've worked with a few, let's say, clients. I've gone to a few classes, taught a few students. They work in a multi-cloud environment, right? Where they use Microsoft, they use Azure, they use Google Cloud for certain aspects, they use Power Cloud in the backend. And it's adopted across the industry already. Simple fact, you can even see mobile phone games every day popping up. You can see new applications developed. You can see all these different types of technologies coming together. It's a let's say it's an interesting age to live in. A lot of I mean, I can't say anything about it. A lot of weird stuff online also, but it's an interesting age. But that makes it so much more let's say interesting to go into this environment. It is a very, very empowering job if you get to know the environments and stuff, right? So most companies are adopting cloud solutions. Why? A lot of people might hear it's cheap, right? Go to the cloud is cheap and all this stuff. Yeah, well, if you get into the details itself, it's about the same as on-premise, but it's just that you pay a little amount to go inside first. So it's good for startup companies. It's good for new organizations that don't want to buy a massive amount of capital. And that's why cloud is very, very, very worthwhile to go into or look at nowadays as an actual job perspective, right? The thing is, what about roles in the cloud? There are few defining job roles in cloud environments. Things like cloud engineer, right? Cloud engineer, day-to-day operations guy, maybe it's the guy who's coming in. These guys are going to deploy systems and all this stuff. It's a good job, quite highly paid actually. Solutions architect, another one you look at. This one is a term being pushed around quite a bit. Everybody nowadays has a certificate, solution architect certificate, which is quite prevalent in the market. What do solution architects actually do? This is something that actually baffles a lot of people. So cloud engineer is the guy who's going to deploy things, right? He's going to maintain the environment. He's going to deploy systems. He's going to make sure everything is running, right? Solution architects are the one who's going to design the environment before the cloud engineer comes in, right? He's going to put it into, workflows. He's going to put it into visual basic charts. He's going to design how the network flows, or how the storage equipment works. What are the kind of backup solutions you have? So these are all skill sets that you require for these specific job roles, right? Solution engineer designs, or solution architect designs, cloud engineer deploys. Then you have DevOps. This is a new term for cloud environments. Developer operations. Most companies that go to the cloud are developer environments, right? They develop applications, they develop specific skill sets. So there is a specific job roles for developers, knowing the kind of different solutions that they can find in the cloud. Very interesting, right? But I myself, I'm an infrastructure guy. Keep it simple. I don't dabble a lot in DevOps stuff, so infrastructure it's expanding, so there's a lot of opportunities there. You can't say anything for security. Every environment needs security, so you have to have like a security specialist. There are specific cloud certifications in AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google environments for security itself. So getting those certifications, putting yourself ahead of the curve, quite prominent. And of course, data engineer, another job. Not to my liking with database stuff, I'm not a database guy, but it's a very, very valuable job. And most environments do need them. So these are some key job roles. Now, can be many other roles in the cloud. You have DevSecOps, you have things like IAM administrator. There are quite a few different job roles, but these are the most prominent ones that you see in the market, right? But to learn or get yourself these jobs, what are the skills required? Right? This is a very broad prospect, cloud specs specifically. The cloud environment is a bit of everything, right? So to land these job roles, you need to have some basic knowledge in terms of infrastructure. How does the network work? How do you design environments? How do you protect your environment from layer 3, layer 4 traffic that's talking about networking, the ISO model? How do you deploy security in the cloud? How do you use different tools and services given by either the cloud service provider or yourself? So cloud security, essentially just knowing the skills. You don't have to go deep into the skills to understand the cloud in the beginning. But once you go into the cloud, you have to have a basic knowledge of these things. Now, specifically, automation is now a big key. Just recently, I was having a class in Singapore, and a Singaporean student came up to me and said that their government is actually pushing for automation. You want to land a job in Singapore, maybe look at automation, man. Why not? Good money, right? DevOps, developer operations. If you're a developer, you've already learned different languages, Python, Go, and all these things. And want to look at cloud developer operations environment, right? Now, I do understand operations is a boring job most of the time, but it's good money, right? AI and machine learning, very prevalent. We see actually it's very prevalent in Indonesia. It's very prevalent in Thailand. In Malaysia, it's picking up quite a bit of steam. A lot of people are using ChatGPT. Can't run. I use it for my work. That's the way it is. You also see different people building different kinds of solutions. Like I heard there was a solution in India. It's a very, very weird solution, but they actually use machine learning to drive their IoT devices, basically drones, to push elephants off their farms by using sound. This is something I just read in an article. It's quite intriguing how they did it. If you think about the concept-wise, and once you go into the cloud, it's quite simple to, not the code, not the sound itself, but to establish something like this, it can be done. Right? There's so many solutions available. So these are some essential skills that you should start picking up at least, right? And don't have to go in detail. You don't have to go deep dive and all this stuff. You just have to keep it simple. Understand the concepts, understand how things click together. Why do you need the network? Why do you need security? Where do you put the network and security? These kind of concepts later on can come into configurations. Configuration-wise, the cloud is pretty straightforward. There's a lot of tutorials. YouTube, best friend. Don't know anything, ask ChatGPT. Or watch a YouTube video. 10, 15 minutes, you can pick up these kind of skills. Now, of course, learning it from somebody who's already gone through that environment. So going for like training courses, especially I'm part of Infosyte, so I have to. So training courses, getting to know the actual environments. Maybe you get some work experience from different environments. Get some details, But these are the skills that you kind of have to understand the concepts at least. Now you don't have, like I said, don't have to go deeply, but base concepts. At least, keep it simple. Right? Skill-wise, right? So to get these skills, what kind of certifications you need to go through? Cloud has quite a few certifications nowadays. I would say 1 to many. right? It all depends on what you are looking for, right? Are you looking for some kind of infrastructure certification? Then you go for more things like a solution architect, system operations, or Azure administrator. So there are specific certifications for specific courses. You don't have to know everything in the cloud. Once you go into it, understand the basics, pick your path, right? Where you want to go. You want to become an engineer, you want to become a solution architect, or maybe you start off as an engineer and make your way forward to an architect expert. So there are a lot of courses, a lot of online trainings. There's a lot of what you call this in-person trainings, which are available by Infosyte also, of course. Yeah, later we'll get to that. But there's a lot of information available. Where to start, what to do, or you can ask people like me and all this stuff. We are very very open to have a discussion. I still have students messaging me once in a while talking about what to do now and all this stuff. You can give them some insight, right? So another thing to know about the cloud, hands-on. You can learn the theory, you can learn the environment, you can learn the concepts. That's good. So that will land you the job. But later on, you need to know how to do it, right? So there's a lot of online labs. If you can't get online labs, you can get a free account in one of these cloud platforms. You can go to AWS, sign up for a free account. They'll have a lot of free tier solutions. Try it out yourself, but be careful. You tie your credit card to it, so make sure you don't go overboard with it. It has happened to me. You learn from your mistakes, but spending a few dollars learning something new, why not? People will think like, oh, I tie my credit card. Actually, true to be told, when you try a credit card to an account, you tend to be more careful because it's now it's your credit card, right? So you will go and actually research which are the free stuff, what I can do and all these things. And then you will learn a lot more. It is taken from personal experience. So getting a free account, learning platforms, so many available, right? Infosyte is one. There are others available online. So you have Coursera, you have AWS Academy. I would suggest if you want to learn like AWS, go to the site itself, right? You don't go to like open, what do you call this, training providers and stuff. Go straight to the base guy, AWS itself. Learn the things, right? Get the white papers if you want to. So many things there. You have things like in AWS called Skill Builder, where you can go and try some online labs, hands-on labs. You have on games that you can play online if you don't like white paper learning and stuff. There are so many things available, but you have to get into it first. You have to understand that these are all actually available to everybody, right? And of course, where to get them and all these things, they will have links here and there. But online learning is always there. Offline learning, of course, Infosyte has them also, right? Community. Join some, you have Reddit forums for this. Maybe Reddit is not a thing. You have online AWS forums. They have chats. They have so many things available for you. So it's not hard getting into it. It's just that it takes a bit of effort, right? But the industry is moving here, right? And we have to get used to it. More and more people joining the cloud. So understanding all these things, we come to a conclusion. Is cloud needed? Yes. You can't run away. It's like last time nobody talked about network. You talked about 30, 40 years back. A lot of people talk about, okay, how do we connect to computers? Simple stuff. Now we're talking about connecting millions of computers around the world using the internet. So times change and we have to keep up with them. So understanding where to start from, where are the certifications? These are all things that we as trainers provide to you, right? Doesn't mean that you join a class, we only talk about training, talk about the service. We also talk about where you can look for stuff, our sharing, our what do you call this, our experience, right? So getting all those things and putting it together and then getting a job in the cloud environment, something we are happy to invest and provide to you. But you have to make an effort. We can't just do training and then just move away, right? So how to get started? Of course, you go to those cloud platforms, choose whichever you want. I mean, if you want to go to the biggest guy, go AWS. You want to go more on Power BI stuff, you go Microsoft Azure. You're more of a developer, maybe Google Cloud is your place. Maybe you like databases, Oracle Cloud. Go inside those cloud environments, get a free account, do some projects on your own with the free tier stuff. They always provide a lot of free tier solutions, a lot of free tier products per se, right? Try to build a small cloud project, maybe host your own web server. You can do this all for free, actually. You get a new account. Host your web server, try to mess around with DNS, see how it works, try to connect to your server, maybe start your small business. Maybe you can start small, start e-commerce, grow big, never know. Talk about, Jenny, if you talk about contributing to open source project, now this is a bit of an advanced one, right? So once you get familiar with the cloud, there are a lot of open source solutions like Kubernetes for microservice environments, Docker environments. You have a lot of different open source, let's say, tools available. And participate in those projects, see what people are doing, understand where all these different technologies are coming from, what they are doing with it, our industry is working with it. So it's very, very diverse. Right? It has a lot of things you can look at. Where you start from, yeah, maybe the starting point is a bit of a hard thing to get into, but once you get started, you're sucked in, man. You basically look at cloud every day and you eat, breathe, and sleep cloud, maybe for a few months. And once you get used to it, you're good to go, right? So get into the cloud, man. It's time. Can't say anything much. It is time, right? Things are moving so fast. We have to get with the project already nowadays, especially AWS. Right? I'm an AWS supporter, so now these are basically talking about challenges that companies face, right? So if companies want to adopt the cloud, what are the kind of skill sets or what are the kind of things they are looking for? You talk about skills. Most companies have network engineers, server guys, specialists maybe, but they don't know how to convert their skill to cloud environments. So they are very set on infrastructure, especially in Malaysia. We are very base infrastructure based, everything on site, on premise, right? But if they want to move to the cloud, they need to have somebody in between, an intermediary, a cloud engineer, a cloud architect. So there's a lot of talent shortages nowadays. If you go and look at Job Street or you go and look at Glassdoor or something, you see a lot of what do you call this, job opportunities available for cloud, and they pay quite hefty. Surprisingly, it's quite a good deal actually. So there are a lot of shortages in talent, especially in Malaysia, according to cloud environments. It's a good time. It's basically the golden era for cloud in Malaysia. A lot of companies that go to the cloud also have a lot of security concerns. Okay, so that's where you come in. You tell them, like, actually, I'll tell you the truth. You talk about security in the cloud and you talk about security in your own data center in some kind of building, right? Maybe in Cyberjaya or something. The concept is still the same. It's just that the adoption is a bit different. How you go about configuring, how you go about setting up the environment is a bit different. You need to have more of a logical thinking sense and need to draw a lot of workflows. But other than that, concepts will never run. What you learn in networking, what you learn in servers, what you learn in storage environments, or even in security will carry over. It's just that how to adopt it, how to change from on-prem to cloud. That's the gap that we are trying to fulfill. Most companies have that issue. I can tell you many stories when companies that try to go to cloud fail, companies that go into cloud success. It all depends on how you adopt. If you have a good engineer, you have a good skill sets, basically team, it's easy to adopt the cloud. Not only that, once you go into the cloud, you have to keep up with changes. Things change. IT industry, every day there's something new coming up. Today you learn about machine learning, tomorrow you learn about how you can make robotic stuff already. You can probably make your own ChatGPT. Possible, very possible. And that's all available in these cloud platforms, right? Now, I'm keeping it general, but you can see I'm a bit biased to AWS. I mean, that's how it is. But if your company is using Microsoft Azure, yeah, go with it, man. Right? If that's where you have experience in, try it out. I'll tell you stories. I know a guy who took all the AWS certificates, ended up working in Microsoft. Companies don't care. They just want to know that you can do it. You have the skill set, right? So imagine one guy gets all the AWS certificates, not all, but professional certificates in AWS, hired in Microsoft, and he's now taking Microsoft certificates, but initially he joined a company with AWS certificates. So the cloud service providers, or even those companies, know these skill sets are very valuable. And doesn't mean that you learn one cloud environment, you cannot adopt to another. You take an AWS certificate and then a company uses Microsoft, you can translate over. It's just changing some names, concepts here and there, but it's essentially about the same. Okay? But we need to keep up, continuous learning. We need to know what is changing in the industry, what is happening right now. Where do we get this stuff? What is the new technology? Is there a new type of firewall? Now, if you are that kind of person who's very, let's say, what's a good word to use for this? Enthusiastic. Right? If you're really enthusiastic about learning, go to cloud. Believe me, there's a lot of things to go through, a lot of things to learn. And it's very, very interesting. But keep up, right? That's the thing we need to know. We need to keep up with the changes, to keep up with demand. Okay? Friends. Now this is talking about cloud itself. Once you go to the cloud, you deploy your whole environment, you digitalize your company, you move the whole thing to the cloud. There are also a few things in cloud computing that you can look at, especially in public cloud service providers, AWS and so forth. You'll hear the term serverless computing. It doesn't actually mean there's no servers. It's just that it's very useful for developer environments, because usually you will take care of the servers. Even if you move to the cloud, you still have to maintain CPU, memory, and all these things. But you have like a serverless option. Now, if you're a developer, I don't want to know how to maintain a server. I just want to deploy a server, run it, and everything taken care of by somebody else. That's where serverless comes in, whereby the cloud service provider will take care of everything. You just deploy your services and pay a monthly bill. Edge computing services. Ever thought about how we watch YouTube? These are things that make it very interesting. Like, how can we watch YouTube in Malaysia when YouTube is a US-based company? Imagine you as a Malaysian resident connecting to US. That's a lot of latency. But with certain technologies called edge computing, they've expanded their environment from US to Malaysia. How you do that is a concept called CDN, Content Delivery Network. Concept-wise, it's actually very straightforward. But how they did it, yeah, there's something to learn about. AI and automation. I know an engineer who goes to the cloud. He works with AWS cloud in his environment. He automates all his tasks. He basically goes to work and watches YouTube because everything is automated. Issue happens, create ticket, send some kind of service, resolve ticket, start service, right? He just watches YouTube. Issue is solved. If you're familiar with ticketing systems, network and all this stuff, right? AI, I don't know something, ask ChatGPT. You'll give me some answers. Now talk about ChatGPT a bit. You need to know, ask ChatGPT the right questions. Doesn't mean everybody can use ChatGPT as a fine. Ask the guy the right question. Sometimes it gives a bit of a weird biased answers, but yeah, that's another topic for another day. So cloud computing is here to stay. Get with the, we have to, get with the program nowadays, sadly. And this is how it is. It's not a bad thing, but it's a new skill set. You have to learn how to adapt with clouds environments or cloud computing itself. So with that said, that's all from me, I guess. So I'll give you some key takeaways. Regarding cloud computing, we talked about cloud computing is the future, right? Cloud skills growing in demand rapidly, especially in Malaysia. This makes good for good career development. Key job roles, cloud engineer, cloud solution architect. These offer very strong career opportunities. Certification. We talk about AWS or Azure or Google or whichever cloud service provider you use. Certification is very, very important nowadays, especially getting you into the job. Truth to be told, getting the certification and then getting your job, and you actually do the job, you find out the job is actually quite easy to do compared to the certification you take. The job might be more easier, just does one thing, backup or something, right? But getting the certification opens the door, right? Hands-on experience, very essential. I know people say hands-on is not easy, but it is made so much more easier with cloud environments. You can do it any day. You can open an account today and start today. Continuous learning after that. Once you know you have all these different solutions available, environments available, learning, right? Keep up to date, get more certifications, keep yourself at the head of the curve, the edge of the market, no? And of course, we finally talk about career growth, cloud trends, right? Emerging or technologies like serverless, machine learning, AI. Maybe these are key environments you want to focus on. I hear very little people in Malaysia actually do AI stuff. We get most of our AI from, surprisingly, Indonesia, India, and Thailand. That's the word on the streets. No, maybe it's time for Malaysians to bring up. Never know. But that's basically some key takeaways here. And just to give you an idea of what cloud computing is, how to future-proof yourself, right? So future-proofing your career in cloud computing is not just about learning a technology anymore. It's about staying curious, proactive, and always adaptable. Okay. And with that said, that's it for me. So let the Q&A begin. I know everybody has a lot of questions right now.
Before we move on to the Q&A, Mr. Praveen, thank you so much for your insightful sharing. I'm pretty sure the audience, the participants learned a lot of new things. So if in fact you guys did learn new things, please do give me a thumbs up. In fact, I did too, so let me give my own thumbs up as well. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thank you.
So let me give a short summary of mine as well. Basically, to wrap up, cloud computing is not just the trend. As we can see, it's the future. And I quote what Mr. Praveen said earlier, do we need cloud computing? Yes, yes, we all do. And it's a golden time that we get into it as the IT industry is ever changing with new inventions and solutions. So get yourself ahead of the curve. By future-proofing yourself with AI and cloud computing, you're setting yourself up for a successful and dynamic career. So now we can move on to the Q&A session. So I will be opening the floor for participants to raise any questions that you have. Please drop your questions either in the chat box or unmute yourself and shoot the questions at Mr. Praveen. Mr. Praveen, I actually have a question to ask you.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so which cloud certifications do you think will provide the most value for professionals who are looking to enter the cloud computing field?
This is a very loaded question, actually.
Oh, is it?
So, so truthfully, specification or certification wise, it depends on your career goals, right? It depends on your career goals. For beginners, maybe you start with things like a cloud practitioner, just to get to know the environment, AWS cloud practitioner, Azure fundamentals, AZ900. You also look at if you're going Google, you have Google Cloud Digital Leader. These are all very basic certificates to get you started. Then once you know where you're going, then you can pinpoint or take more technical roles like solution architect, Azure administrator, associate, sysadmin admin. So it depends where you want to go after that. So, but first thing, get your feet wet into the cloud, then start choosing your career path. So that's why I said it's a bit loaded. It's not very specific.
I see, I understand. Okay, thank you for your answer. There's a question from Farhan. What are the biggest challenges companies face when migrating to the cloud?
Do you have half an hour? I can tell you. So the biggest challenges companies face when moving to the cloud is something called re-architecting, right? This is the one I can think of. Mainly, I see companies fail. So what they mean by re-architecting is like taking whatever application you have on premise, re-architecting and moving it to the cloud. right? That means you're changing the whole environment. Maybe you have like a monolithic application or something, and then you move it to cloud environments. Most people fail, most actually environments fail because they don't know what they're actually getting themselves into, right? If they don't have very good developers, they don't have very good software engineers and all these things, very bad. But I've seen a lot of good stories, of course, but that you need a very powerful team. So the question is, challenges come from older companies where they have a lot of in-house applications built and they try to move them all to the cloud now. I'll give you a simple example. You guys all know about Singtel, Singapore. Singtel has been moving to the cloud since 2018. Until today, they still haven't finished their migration to cloud. So they actually have to get like a middle solution, something like a Nutanix and all these things. It's just telling you backend. Right? I hear all these stories. So re-architecting is one. And then another thing is not knowing what kind of application should be moved to the cloud and should not be. Everything is cost. You have to understand everything in the cloud is cost, right? Everything on premise also is cost, but you have to know, like, if you have like a file server, is that good to move to the cloud? Imagine people accessing the file server every day, every access, $1. 1,000 access, $1,000 a day, man. So understanding which applications, right? Like I said, I can give you 30 minutes, but maybe we'll take it offline if Farhan, you get my details and I'll have a chat with you, man.
Well, Farhan, I hope that answers your question. If not, please do let us know, yeah? So I think I have another question as well, if you don't
Okay.
mind. So now that we know that there are multiple cloud providers available, so how do we decide which platform is the best to specialize in?
Okay. To give a short answer, it depends on the industry your company is in, right? So if your company is more into marketing, maybe you'll look at more things like Power BI solutions and all these things, right? To create very good outlooks and stuff. So it depends on the industry demand. It depends on the company itself. Maybe it's depending on your own or the company's career goals, right? Where they want to move, what are the skill sets they have, what are the existing skill sets, what they need to improve. So if you want to keep it, which cloud provider is the biggest? I can give you a simple explanation. AWS, largest market share, right? Widely adopted, strong choice for general cloud rules. Microsoft is more dominant in enterprise environments. Everybody uses Microsoft front end. Google is a leader in AI and machine learning. So maybe a single cloud solution is not enough for every company. Maybe multi-cloud. So it has a lot of branches, but specifically, there's no one best choice. Let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers your question, Ms. Kosila.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I guess that's it for the Q&A session. And now, before we go, dear participants, I would love to hear one key takeaway from each of you. Share with me, what did you find most interesting or useful today? You can share it in the chat box. I don't know what. Okay, Mr. Harvinder said that he didn't know what was cloud computing role, but he has heard of it many times. Okay, so does this mean that this session was helpful for you to understand its role? And next, Nur Shaza, you want to hear more about certificates regarding cloud computing. Okay. Sure, go ahead, Praveen. Mr. Praveen.
So cloud computing roles, of course, like I said, you have 5 major roles, right? Cloud engineer, your day-to-day task, basically the guy that deploys everything. Solution architect, this is a guy that designs the cloud environment. So it's like a project manager. He comes inside, designs the environment, goes away, right? Then you have like DevOps or developer operations. These are more for developers, how to maintain their application environment, how to maintain the running of the application on a day-to-day basis, how to troubleshoot if something goes wrong. More from a cloud perspective, but it's essentially an application engineer. Data engineers or data scientists, generally you talk about data engineers, guys who understand databases, right? Or even talk about big data. And then you have also, what do you call this? what's the other role? Security specialist. Security specialist is one of the most high-paid jobs. Security is everything. So yeah, so those are some roles, right? Certifications, contact Kosila. She'll tell you more about certifications. No worries.
Sure. Okay, so that's it. Is it Mr. Praveen
Yeah, that's
from
it
your
from
end?
me. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So now we will be moving on to a short group photo session. So everyone, please open your camera and just get ready for me to say 3, 2, 1 to show your beautiful smiles. Come on, don't be shy, open your cameras. Before you all go, please just give me another 1 more minute. Yeah. So I would just like to say thank you everyone once again for joining our webinar. If you're excited to know more about cloud computing, because like Mr. Praveen said, now is the golden time, I would highly recommend checking out cloud computing courses at Infosyte. We offer training from AWS, CompTIA, Microsoft, especially in regards to cloud computing. So you can visit our website. It's stated there in the presentation slide, www.infosyte.com, or you can WhatsApp us at 012-641-2009 to register and take the next step in future-proofing your career. So stay curious, keep learning, and see you in the cloud. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.